Hello, Salon Sleuth fans. My name is Melissa, and my co host is Leslie. We decided we wanted to share our salon stories. We both have an interest in crime stories and a fascination with the psychic world. So settle in each week as we share another story with you. Who knows, you might even learn something.
Well, welcome, Salon Sleuth fans. We're so glad you guys are here today with us. Today is a day that Leslie and I look forward to every month. This is our Monday. You won't be hearing it on Monday. You'll be hearing it on Tuesday. But this is our Monday with Suzanne Jauchius. Say hello, Suzanne.
Hello, Suzanne. Hi.
Suzanne, you can find Suzanne on suzannejauchius.com, and it's spelled SuzanneJauchius.com. And she is a well-known author. You Know Your Way Home, and you can still find that on Amazon. She's a professional intuitive consultant, psychic, radio personality, author, and speaker. And clients have come to her for years seeking clarity and perspective in tackling the daily issues of their lives. You can also find her on our website with the YouTube episode that she did with Woz and the Witch. Is that what it's?
Was in the Witch. His
Woz and the
last
Witch.
name. His last name is Wazinski or something like that. So he
Okay.
goes by Was.
Okay. Which is a really fun video that you were
It's
in,
a
and it looks
it's a
like fun to
great
do.
video. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very candid and relaxed. I love it.
Yeah. And you talk a little bit about growing up too, and
Yeah.
all that. And your book really kind of goes into that too, which is kind of fun. But today we are going to have guests on that are going to ask Suzanne a question or two, and basically she'll explain how she does it, but I will unmute you. I'll introduce you, unmute you, and you'll just ask her a question, and she'll ask you for your name and your birth date, and you just give her the month and the date, and then tell her how old you are, and then
And I
ask
just need a first name.
just a first name.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, Suzanne, do you want to tell them kind of what you do and how you do it and explain it?
Well, if you were in person, what I do is called psychometry, and psychometry seems to be the ability to hold or touch something that belongs to someone else and see pictures. So if you were sitting here with me and we were doing a full reading, I'd be holding a watch or a ring or car keys. Then I'd close my eyes, so I'm not reading you, visually, and I start seeing pictures and I report to you what I see. When the pictures stop, I open it to your questions. And at that time, when you talk, I see pictures that come in around your words. And that's how I work with this here today. When you talk, I'm looking at pictures coming in around your words. They may not always make sense and they may not even be relevant to your question. But what's fascinating to me is people come back time and again telling me how relevant they actually were and how I have provided really great clues for them to watch for. So it's kind of it. I'm not a fortune teller or mind reader, but I do seem to be able to tune in to something that that shows us clues and things to pay attention to that might help you make decisions as you go on into your life. So that's kind of it.
Yeah, and Leslie and I have talked about this a couple times. Sometimes people getting readings will try to put put meaning into something that you or someone else says.
Right,
So if you say a key, they try to, "Oh, I'm trying to buy a new car." Well,
right,
that may be it, but also it might not be it. Like
right.
sometimes don't define it, maybe just kind of live with it and see how it unfolds, right?
Right. One of my funnest ones, and I may have mentioned this on another episode, was a gal that, and sometimes I'll see names. And had this reading with this gal. She actually lived in Eugene, and I could see her probably ending up living in Chicago someday. And she's like, that won't happen. And but is there a relationship? And so we talked a little, and I saw the name Michael, and then we talked a little bit more, and I saw the name Stephen, and I go, I don't know, maybe there's a couple guys here, and she called me years later. She goes, you just won't believe it. I'm living in Chicago because I married a man named Michael Stevens.
Crazy.
Yeah. So trying
Crazy.
to figure it out at that time made no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to start from the bottom up this time because I always start from the top. So, Lisa, if you want to unmute yourself go ahead and introduce yourself. Give Suzanne your birth month and date. Sorry, month and day of birth. Yes, thank you. And there you go.
Hello, Suzanne. My name is Lisa,
Uh,
and my birth date is April 26th.
so what I do need though is a question. If you have a question for me.
Oh, yeah. I do have a question for you that I'm very curious about, and this actually doesn't so much pertain to me as it pertains to a person that was in my life uh, in the past, and this person keeps popping into my mind and has actually popped into some of my friends' dreams
Hmm.
um, to give me messages.
Is this
And
person still alive?
he is not still alive.
Okay.
He is not still alive. And just recently, he really has been in the forefront of my mind, just nothing significant, but oddly, let me give you a little background. I ran into a friend many years ago at a store, and she said, "Hey, I ran into this person that you know, and he was asking me how you were doing." And I thought, oh, that's so great. And I went home and I thought about him and I went to sleep that night. And I had a dream that he and I were in a helicopter together and we were having fun. And the next morning I woke up and there was a text from another friend who told me he passed away that night.
Oh my,
And
that's kind of cool. I
it
mean,
is
it's
kind of cool.
sad, but it's kind of
It
cool.
is kind of cool. And there, it was really cool because the helicopter we were in was actually in the rose garden and we were laughing and those little drones that they fly around, that was our helicopter, and we were throwing things at people and laughing hysterically. And so I woke up and he had passed away, and about a week or two later a friend came to me and said, I didn't know this person that I have never met him, but he came to my dream last night and he wanted me to tell you that he's okay
Yeah,
and that
that's
he's, reaching out for you.
mm.
And I just,
Well, what's his first name?
Kevin.
Kevin. And how long's he been gone?
Mm, gosh, probably 10 years.
Oh, quite a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you recall his birthday?
April 11th.
Okay. So I just want to comment on the helicopter. So the night he died, um, when you said it was hovering, that's an astral body experience. You were out of your body. You were actually with him in that picture. You were probably with him when he died or shortly thereafter. We meet in the astral world in our dreams, and I'm told by people that have crossed over that that is a valid communication bridge. That our dream world is actually a way that they can reach to us and communicate with us. I can't tell what he's trying to get across right now, but my sense is my sense about him is he had quite a sense of humor, and he's just wanting to tap everybody on the shoulder. It's possible that he's just discovered something about himself over there that he can actually, oh my gosh, I can actually touch back to people. You got to remember that there is no time over there. We're the place with the time. And so what I've also been told is 50 years here can be 5 minutes there. So when we start looking at how long they've been gone, or how, gee, they've been gone all this time and I haven't heard, seen them or felt them,
Hmm.
there's just no time thing. But my sense is he's got something happy or joyful to share. And so was he kind of a comical guy?
A little bit, he was more intense than anything. And, one of the things that I've wondered is he was African American. And, with everything that's happening in the world right
Ah,
now,
huh?
I've been wondering, is he trying to say, fight the good fight? Is he, he was, I remember a couple instances where, someone had said to him, something about made a comment about his appearance and then called him a boy. They said, "You're a big boy." And he said, don't ever call me a boy because you don't know
Mhm.
what it's like being a Black man. And those words, that word boy, is so degrading to me, right? And so I just keep thinking, well, maybe he's like trying to tell me, stand strong, fight the fight.
Mhm.
I don't know. I have no idea. But I just thought it was interesting during this time of turmoil that all of a sudden, and it's not, I don't feel like it's me. I don't feel like it's me just thinking of him. Like I can feel the presence, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. It's really interesting.
It just feels really reassuring the whole time you're talking. It's almost like he's just wanting to reassure you and others that it's all okay.
Yeah.
And that and again, that's what they've told me over there is when we cross over, it's like, oh my God, what a dream that was. I'm so glad to be home. It's
Wow.
like it's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So I think it feels more like a reassuring thing. But he's also, I got to tell you, he's acquired a sense of humor. So
Well, that's good to know.
there's something going on there. I hope that's helpful a little bit.
It is. It is. I didn't know what to make of it, and that is helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, that's interesting, Suzanne, because you also mentioned astral body. Am I saying that right? Astral body experience, out of body experience on our Facebook feed this week. And that was something that Leslie and I discussed that, oh, we need to talk to you more about that another time. We won't do it today, but that seems like a whole topic in and of itself.
Well, there's a great book if you want to, bone up on it a little bit. It's called Journeys Out of the Body by Robert Monroe. And it was written a long time ago. So I don't even know if it's still in print. But it probably is because there's a thing called the Monroe Institute where people can actually go and be trained in astral travel and out of body travel. So, yeah, it's a thing.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay, well, I noticed that Tucker, you're on the call now. If you want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself to Suzanne and give her your birth date, month, and day, and ask a question, that'd be great.
Okay. Hello, Suzanne.
Hey,
January 5th, 1960.
yes. And what is your question today,
My
sweetie?
my question is an ongoing question of losing my job because of the pandemic
Yeah,
thing. I was going to stay there till I was 65, even though I was just doing it for money and insurance. I didn't love it. But trying to get a new job with my husband having a severe COPD, it's
yeah,
a tough battle of, do I need to stay home? How is his health doing? Am I going to get a job? Should it be part time? It's very frustrating. Where would
yeah,
I go in a job that's a safe environment for me to come home?
right. That's a lot of questions.
Well,
Yeah.
how's
So anyway, the whole time you're talking, Tucker, and by the way, Tucker and I know each other, so that's why
yes.
I'm sounding familiar with her. But as you're talking, I keep seeing something towards the end of September, and I'm wondering, this is kind of bizarre, but it's sort of I want to call it a government job, but it's something like an institution, hospital, a school, a government agency, I don't know, but there could be something come up where you find yourself interviewing for, and it could even be part time, but it's towards the end of September, and it feels very, I don't know, it feels very kind of government related. So
Well, that's interesting.
yeah. So do you watch for government postings at all?
I have before because I did work for a city of Santa Monica before, and
Well,
it was
there
a
you
great
go.
job.
So
So yeah, I do.
maybe it's important to pull that resume back out and you know, start looking in that direction.
Yeah, I'm just trying to feel safe of,
I
Jean's
know.
health.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. But
because
I do think something's going to move for you towards the end of September that is going to that'd be an opportunity. I can't tell if you take it or not, but it does show up as an opportunity.
well, once he gets his next CAT scan, I'll feel better about how he is.
Right. Right.
But
Well, he keeps trucking.
he keeps trucking, yeah, but it's you can watch the progress going slower. It'll
Yeah,
always move down, so it's
it's
a tough
hard to
one.
watch. I know it's so hard to watch, but think about the government
Okay.
idea, okay, honey?
Thank you.
And I think really, maybe your job right now is just being present for him. Um,
That's what's happening, so it must be what the answer is.
and sometimes, because of our anxiety right now, a lot of times the thing that the mantra we need to be telling ourselves is acceptance and gratitude, one day at a time, acceptance and gratitude. Because to me, that's the place of miracles. If we can kind of live in that place of acceptance and gratitude, things open to us that wouldn't normally be there. If we're out, kind of frenzied and anxious, things stay away. It keeps things away. So acceptance and gratitude is kind of magical.
Well, I'll keep doing that and keep working on my little river heart rocks and
Little
mosaic.
River Heart Rocks. Good talking to you, Tucker.
Thanks,
We'll have to get
Suzanne.
together. Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, and I think Tucker just brings up what so many people are struggling with in these times is, being out in the world to what degree and how much and what,
Yeah.
how much anxiety we're going to have after kind of coming out of this,
Uh-huh.
are we all going to feel safe and all of that. So that's a really big issue, I think. Thanks,
Yeah.
Tucker.
Thank you.
So Jennifer, you are up next. Unmute yourself and then introduce yourself to Suzanne and go ahead and ask a question.
Hi, Suzanne. It's
Hi,
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Hi, birthday 2/27.
Okay. And what is your question today?
My question is, what do you foresee professionally and now and in the future with these uncharted waters we're all in?
Yeah. So are you typically in a position of like being the boss or the manager or the supervisor, the director, anything like that?
Yes.
Yeah. So are you self-employed?
Yes, there's an awesome team I get to work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, I don't know. You're one of these. You're one of these that just makes it all good. It's like, okay, well, here's what we need to do. You roll up your sleeves and you get to it. And that's sort of like I said, the boss symbol. But you have kind of on a personal level, you have a lot of vision. And so you can see in a perfect world, this is how this would go, and this is how that would go. And so I want you to trust your personal vision a little bit more. You don't work in healthcare, do you?
Well, we have products that support people being active. So I consider health and wellness in a
Okay,
roundabout way.
perfect. Yeah, no. So that's what I'm seeing is health and wellness, caretaking, caregiving, all that stuff. It's my health care symbol. And
Yes,
so,
support.
I think,
Support is our mission.
yeah. So I think that's your calling, actually. Um, Honestly, at this time, and this is worldwide, we are going through a huge transformation. And I think the people that are coming to me aren't asking, gee, what's going to happen next? They're saying, what else in me can I get in touch with to do in the world? And some people, like yourself, are already in touch with that. You kind of got that. So then the next job is how does that transform through me? And so finding new ways of doing old things and that sort of thing, Jennifer, is sort of your challenge, at least right now,
Yes. Okay.
if that makes sense.
Transform through me. And
Okay.
I know we're all waking up every day trying to figure out the new normal. So I appreciate the validation. I think,
Well, I think you're
Melissa
part
mentioned.
of, I think you're part of, I think you're part of I'm going to call it the leading edge of the new normal because you don't take anything sitting down. You're like, okay, well, we can figure this out. And, I think you'll be kind of out there on the front lines with this new
Awesome. All right, I'm
normal.
gonna keep trucking.
Okay. Good luck.
Thanks for your
Okay,
support.
wow. Because I talked to Jennifer earlier. She's Leslie, one of my good friends. Anyways, we talked earlier, so I kind of have some background. And whoo,
Was
that
that
one,
good?
that one's a good one, Suzanne.
Yay.
Ugh, I know. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Carolyn is also a good friend of Leslie's. I should say a good friend. And Carolyn, do you want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself? Give your date, month, and year of your birth. Sorry, date. I cannot say that, Suzanne. Month and date of your birthday.
Yeah.
Hi, Suzanne. Thank you for taking my question. My birth date is October 7th.
Okay. And what is your question today?
Well, as many of us, I am at a crossroads with my life and thinking of what to do next.
Uh-huh.
A few years back, I started writing, just jotting down thoughts and memories for a book about my son and I,
Okay.
helping people to deal with loss. And for a while, I've been thinking of getting back to it. I think ultimately I just want to help people in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm looking for how to proceed, where to go, what to do. I've lost my job.
Yeah. Well, as you're talking, what I keep seeing is you've got two options coming up. And I don't know if you've had, two new job offers or if there's been a couple different things you've been doing, but the symbol is to stay flexible and ambidextrous. Um, be willing to do this and that, be willing to do a couple different things. And because you're kind of, it's almost like it's almost like you've been set free, like the bird out of the cage, and here I go, and wow, but wait, let me stay in the cage. It's like,
Yep.
no, fly, be free, go do what you need to do. And so I think you're going to have, if you can kind of hold that thought, you may find yourself actually being offered a couple different jobs or positions or something. As far as the writing goes, we all have a story that needs to be told, and that's. I think we should all be telling our stories, frankly. But I can tell you, and I don't mean to discourage, but on a personal level, publishing is hard, and so if you've got a story to tell, I think it's really important to whether it's an online group or if we ever open up again and you get a chance to attend a writers workshops or conferences, anything like that, because those are wealth of information in terms of the next step. But writing, getting it out, dumping it is the most important part. Just let it all come out and be sort of this pile of stuff, because the rewrite is the most exciting part. Going back in now and editing and rewriting, but don't edit as you first write. Let it be just literally a dump.
Yep.
And then you can go back in and you can structure it and rewrite it and do all that. Um, and I always tell people, don't write unless you are compelled. If you're not compelled to write, don't do it. It's arduous. So, but if something compels you, then you got to do that. The other thing that shows up around, how old are you? Well, it doesn't matter. The other thing that shows up around you is I want you to move. I want you to move in your body, which is typically a circulatory symbol. So do you get out and walk every day? Do you work out? Do you do any kind of aerobics?
I pedal.
Hi, everyone. This is Leslie. I just need to explain something that happened while we were recording the show. The audio just completely cut out and we had to restart. But this is not uncommon for something that happened to Carolyn, who was actually speaking at the time. She had lost her son a few years back, and it was a tragic event in all of our lives who were connected with her, and especially for her. But in this time, we believe that her son does contact her through things that are electronic. So it did not surprise us one bit that the audio would cut out, especially during her time talking. She had had many events that had led up to this. And I just think this is one thing that has happened that we were all witnesses to, that her son is still much very well with her. And this is one way for him to just show up and make it obvious that it is him. It is actually kind of comical that he would do this during our show.
Yes.
They let me go.
Carolyn,
When
is
did
this the
that
one that
happen,
brought me
Carolyn?
the-
I didn't know.
They reorganized, and my position was just eliminated. So that happened July 20th.
Oh, I did not know that.
It's just weird. I've been there 23 years, and it's
Oh,
That's
weird.
funny because I asked you if you're doing any fitness, any exercise and that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah,
well, I wanted to say that, but I wasn't going to butt into her reading. I wanted to say, well,
Yeah.
she works at a health club.
well,
She's got no excuse.
it does show up around you to get your circulatory going.
What's so funny, Suzanne, is I do feel free. You had
I
said
know.
free,
Yeah.
and I have been getting so many signs to change my course. Even a dream from Jeff making me change courses, and I was always too chicken. And it's like the universe said, okay, well, if you're not going to do it, we are.
Yeah.
And so that's
How it works. It's called a course correction.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that excitement, Carolyn.
Yeah, that was really powerful.
All right, I'm going to put myself on mute. And Amber, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Amber, and my birthday is March 6th, 1975.
Hi, Amber. And what is your question today?
My question is, if you see a dear friend of mine who committed suicide about 6 months ago, if you see him around me, or if he gives you any kind of indication why he did it.
Okay, well, that's kind of vague. So what I need is his first name and birthday if you have it.
His name's Michael Wright.
Uh-huh.
His birthday is March 29th, 1980.
Well, that's my birthday.
Oh.
Except I was born in 49, so that's he says that nothing made sense to him anymore, and he couldn't figure things out. And he also had been obviously he'd been depressed, but he's kind of holding his head like I couldn't think anymore. And he was thinking in circles and all of that. So, gosh, had something happened that he, I don't know, it was like nothing made sense to him.
Yeah, I mean, he wanted to change careers, and he was having a really hard time finding a different career path. And he just honestly is the last person on earth that I thought would do something like that. That's why I had that question is just
because it was all, he held it all in his head. I mean, It's like his head was spinning and he couldn't make sense and he couldn't think straight. And, this is a guy who was pretty structured. What was his work?
He was a bartender.
Okay.
But he also worked on fishing boats too.
Okay.
He would go out to Alaska and do that as well.
So he lost his job when all this happened?
No, he had went to Alaska to do a fishing job, work on a fishing boat, and he came back to Portland, and he didn't want to go back to bartending or work in the hospitality industry anymore. And he was having a really hard time finding a job outside of that industry. And that's all I really know is that.
Well, I don't know. I think he may have, he may have tipped over the edge somehow. He felt depressed, and which is kind of a no-brainer. But he also felt pretty distressed and confused, and it's like he didn't have anything to hold on to. If he just even had a thread of something that could make sense to him, he would hold on to that. But he didn't. And part of it was he realized that nobody could help him, only he could help himself. And he, he just felt like he had himself in a corner. How did he die? How did he do it?
He hung himself.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know. He also keeps, like I said, he keeps holding his head, like maybe his head hurt. I don't know if if he'd had headaches or anything like that. There may have been,
No, I mean, not that he had ever complained to me about.
there might have been something going on in his head, that just, yeah, and again, intuitively, he may have felt like something wasn't right in his head, but that's what he keeps showing me. It
Okay,
just makes sense. So I'm sorry for your loss.
that's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Does that mean, Suzanne, like mental illness, maybe,
Or
or
a brain tumor, typically when they hold their heads like that, it's something neurological or, a brain tumor of some sort.
okay? Wow. Well, I actually got full body chills on that one, so I
Yeah.
don't know what that means, Suzanne.
Okay.
That doesn't happen to me very often, but well, I think that's all of our callers. Did I miss anyone?
This is what I'm going to start calling Melissa's out of touch moments. This is going to be our new segment.
Okay.
Because I did not realize there's way more to this Karen thing.
Mm.
This Karen thing actually is tied up in the Black Lives Matter protests. Did you know that?
It's all over the place. It's about masks. It's about everything, really.
Okay, so no,
It's all over Facebook. You don't get any of those things from Facebook?
no, but here's the deal. This whole being a Karen started well before this year. It started in the African American community talking about white women who use their white privilege to, I want to talk to your manager, or, you're not going to treat me like this, or, I'm going to call the police on you because and say that a black man is hurting me, all those things. That was their term. They termed that for white women throwing around their privilege. Now it's kind of morphed into, I heard a lot of things about, soccer mom, woman just using her power, wanting to talk to the manager, a lot of different entitlements, pushy behavior, those kinds of things. But it really started in the Black community. And so once the listener kind of told me about this, I started researching it more. And sure enough, this has been happening. This has been their term for many, many years. And we just didn't know about it. But also, there's other names that have come up. So remember I said, well, what about the male names and everything? So do you remember the gal who called the police on the family that was barbecuing in a park? Like they were barbecuing in a barbecuer, and called the police.
I don't know that one.
Okay. And then she started crying. Well, she was deemed Barbecue Becky. And from most accounts, this is now used as the younger version of Karen, the soccer mom.
Mhm.
Karen's kind of middle age. Becky's kind of the younger version. And then there was something with a Patty, like Permit Patty, which is the older woman, the older white privileged woman. And there's lots of stories on that, but the Karen has really stuck. The Becky and the Patty, I also saw Sharon being thrown around, but the Karen one for some reason has really stuck. But then there are male names. So the ones there were several, and for some reason the Chad one obviously is the one that has kind of stuck a little bit more. So my whole theory on it was kind of a douchey guy.
Mhm.
Really isn't the case. It's kind of that white privileged guy.
Well, let me say this really quick, meaning that you're saying he's a douchey guy. So back in 2005, Dane Cook did this on a comedy special where he referred to as Karen, and Karen always carried around a bag of douches.
Ah,
And so when Karen wasn't around, people would say, "Oh God, or God, Karen, she's such a douchebag." So he said that, and back in 2005.
Really?
But I mean, I don't know if that has anything, or how far back you were saying that this goes, but yeah.
Huh.
Anyway, that's funny that you said douchebag, and then that's what he was quoted as saying.
Quoted as saying, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so the male names that I saw were Brock, would be the younger version, Chad, Ken. I also saw some Kyles and William. So I do not know why the male version, like as I said, like there was that guy at Costco, why that hasn't caught on so much with the
Yeah.
men. But certainly the Karen woman has really kind of, I think, gotten a foothold, especially this year.
Yeah.
If it made itself all the way to me, which is Melissa's, out of touch moments.
That's really funny. Well, we could just, I think instead of saying that she's like a B word, you would
Yeah.
just say Karen.
Yes. 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 Yes.
And there's a lot of Karens out right now. I'm not sure what the heck's going on in this world.
Okay, so speaking of that, it's so easy to go down the rabbit hole, as we call it, with these topics and researching them. And there's so much information. But I literally was up to 11 o'clock last night watching some of these Karens, and it was shocking, Leslie.
Mhm.
Shocking.
Terrible. Did you happen to see the one in, sorry, Home Depot?
No.
Okay. Never mind. I'll skip that one.
Oh,
It's terrible. It's horrible.
I saw one, and well, I actually saw several, but I saw one of this woman, and apparently she's now got charges against her, and she's like probably 65, and she's just going off telling them to go back to where they came. They were born there,
Yeah.
and I was shocked, shocking behavior. Like,
Yeah.
why are you even saying this? And you're being taped, you're being recorded. So like, why are you even
They just don't
continuing to
care.
talk? Like, just shush and go away. It was crazy.
And a lot of these Karens have their own camera and their own videoing
Yeah,
the other person, ugh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
just terrible.
So I thought we needed to do a little update on that because I was way off. I had just touched the surface of this whole Karen thing, thought I was, all cool because I finally got the joke, right?
Yeah.
And I hadn't even like scraped the surface on that one. So,
Mm. Well, I had an experience in the salon a week ago Monday. And so I had this client that I've had for over 16 years. And I've known, from when I had the salon in my house.
yeah,
And then she's just kind of followed me around. So she's where I am now.
like
And
me,
what's that?
I followed you around.
Yeah, I love that. Anyway, I've had her a long time. She has gone through some terrible things where she had cancer at one time, but she made it through. And then, so she came in, she got a pedicure and then a manicure. I start with the feet first so they can dry before we get to their hands. And I did her pedicure. While I'm doing her feet, her husband calls her, and I'm not listening, but I'm just doing my thing. But I know he called. And then we start to her hands, and I happen to mention, I'm like, "Hey, do your boys, are they playing baseball? Because I know that, some teams are playing now, and I did hear about that team in Newburgh that, they all got COVID." And she's like, "Oh yeah, that was actually Brian when he called me. He was letting me know that Jared's test came not negative because there's a kid on his team, and he has it, and a lot of the boys had hung out with him, and so they." He was just calling to me, let me know that his test was negative. And I was like, "Oh," like, "What the hell? What?" So I didn't say anything. I waited till she left, and I waited till Thursday. I thought about this. Plus, I mentioned it to a bunch of people to get their take on it. And so I emailed her or texted her, and I just said, "Listen, I just want to clarify something. You came into the salon knowing that your son had been exposed to COVID, but you hadn't got the test results yet. Is that clear? Is that accurate?" And she's like, "Yes, but I knew he wasn't. I knew he didn't have it. I was 100% sure, but then if you're 100% sure, you wouldn't have had him tested, but we know that he had been exposed and that other boy was in
Yeah,
his car."
yeah,
And so I had to just tell her that I couldn't do him anymore. I can't trust her. I go, my husband and I are both at high risk. Our oldest son is at high risk, and I can't, I can't do that. I can't have people coming in like that. She should have at least at minimum rescheduled her appointment.
Yes.
And after I told her I couldn't do it anymore, I haven't heard from her, and she unfriended me on Facebook. So I was a little surprised that she wouldn't come back at me. I thought she would be angry at me. I'm sure she is. She's just not saying it to me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I have to protect my family. You don't like at
Oh,
least just tell me and I'll do you later in the day.
well,
But let's just say he had it, right?
yeah.
That means they were then exposed and then I was exposed and then, you know, it was terrible.
No, I'm sorry. I hadn't even thought that far about that, but you're totally right.
Well, the boy who had it was in her son's car and they hung out. She said it was only for a minute. I'm like, "Well, how long does it take to get COVID?"
Yeah.
1 droplet? I mean, I don't know, like, it doesn't probably ta you don't even have to be in the car with somebody to get it, you could be next to him, I don't know.
Well, and
I just felt that was really unfair for her to bring into the salon, even though he was negative, yes, I get that, I understand that, but we didn't know that at the time
yeah.
when she walked in the door. It was just a terrible she said and then she did say during our text messages before I told her I couldn't do it, she did say that, "What about all my other clients that could be lying to me?" I'm like, "But I only know that you are."
Yeah.
Like, I don't
That's like
everybody
saying,
else
what about the
might.
other kids that jumped off the bridge?
Well, and so what I've been telling my clients is a story.
Yeah.
So, if you start to feel weird or if you might have been around somebody who might have it, but they're waiting for test results, please just reschedule. I don't want to be involved in that. I mean, I do wear gloves, I do wear a mask, I do sit behind that partition.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best that I can, but I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know. I just don't want to get sick.
There's so many, this is such a politically charged thing, and I don't understand why it's politically charged, but there's so many people that still don't believe it's a real thing and just are like, hey, it's just like the flu. Well, it's not really, because like 20% of the people that get it have to end up going to the hospital for an intervention. When you get the flu season, 20% of the population does not go to the hospital due to the flu. So that's the big difference.
Well, and I was just talking to another client on Wednesday, and she was like, the death rate is so low. But I'm like, okay, let's take away the whole deaths. Like, that's
Yeah.
terrible that somebody died.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the people who have long term lung issues now,
Yes.
or who had actually been in the hospital for a month and now they have, $1 million, bill. Or, I
Correct.
mean, so just because they're not dying doesn't mean it doesn't count as being a really terrible illness.
Yeah, I think for some reason that part of the conversation has gotten pushed away, and it's been about how many people die, and that is horrible, and I'm not saying that.
How many people almost died?
Yeah,
Let
exactly.
let's do death, how many almost died, and then, maybe a percentage of people who have never even went to the hospital,
And
like.
how many people do not have any health care, so they do not go in to even get help? I mean, we've seen people with health care that go in and die a day later or die a couple of
Right.
days later because they
Well, I'm imagining a lot of people don't wanna go in, and then when they're so
no.
sick, they go in, there's no help for them, so,
Yes, they're too far gone. Yeah.
I don't know, I just felt really dirty about the whole thing. I feel terrible because I know she might have a hard time finding somebody, but I'm like, "Why do I feel guilty about it? She's the one that put me in this weird position."
Yes, I actually am feeling your emotion about this. Like, I would
Yeah.
feel horrible having to have that conversation, but I'd also feel horrible that she put me in that conversation in that.
Right, like, I had to make this decision because of her. I
Yeah,
feel terrible.
yes,
I had her for a very long time, and even though she hadn't always been very easy, I still we still had a friendship of some sort, but,
yeah,
oh well. I just can't worry about it anymore. I feel like had that test come back negative or positive, would she have told me right then in the salon? Like, I don't know.
yeah,
Because I think she would have felt like it was only her son. Like it didn't
right.
go to her or her husband. But by that time it probably could have been. And this is the other thing. They had a rapid test. How accurate are those? Is it like like a strep test? Can you send it away and get a more accurate result later? Like,
I have
you know what I
wondered
mean?
that. I do not know the answer, but I wondered
Yeah.
the same thing, because you're right, with the rapid strep test, it'll say no, and then they'll send it out. 2 days later, it comes back yes. So,
Well, and so like if it actually came back at would she tell me now? Would she have to tell me? Because indirectly, he didn't come to the salon, so therefore it's not, that tracing thing.
Yeah. Contact
But
tracing.
then she would have been exposed, right? So I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna just tell myself that that didn't happen.
Well, and I think that it's going to get closer and closer to us. And we've
Yes, it
already
is.
had 2 brush-ins where somebody that we have seen had seen someone that had it, right?
Yeah.
Like 2 away, but I think it's going to start
We all know somebody now, or we will know somebody. It's all coming very closer.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's going to get there and oh, I'm sorry. Well,
Ugh, that was my week.
yeah.
I was so torn for like, oh, and then I finally, when I sent the text, I was like, okay, here we go. I thought she'd call me or like, you know, be mad. Nothing. And then I was like, well, did she get it? I don't know. So I emailed it too, and I didn't get anything. So I was like, okay, she must have got it. And then when I went to Facebook and saw that she's no longer friends with me, then I'm like, oh, she definitely got it. I was just didn't want her to come in on Monday to get her nails done and then be like, you didn't get my text message?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Awkward. Well, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Hey, Melissa, what kind of bras do you wear?
Oh my gosh, I wear handful bras.
Tell me why you love them so much. You talk about them all the time, and I just want to understand what is so great about them.
Well, I love them because they're comfortable. They are not constricting, so I can still like breathe and move around. And I like to do yoga too, and I like to stretch. And I do not like a bra that is just like sucking me in so that I'm so flat and can't breathe. I love the patterns. I love the different styles. Right now, they have this really cute, like teal color, and they've done a couple patterns in it too. And they have this wavy one, which I can't even remember the name because they have absolutely adorable names for these things. But they have the adjustable bra, which is their classic. They have the closer bra, which is great for people like you that have a little more than a handful. It's got the 2 little hooks and then it zips up. And my favorite pattern right now is the ripple effect is what it's called. And then I love the double down, which is a really cute new style that they have. And I love their leggings because I think they made them for me because they're so long. And they have a cute camo legging that I wear all the time.
I have those too. Brandy gave me a pair.
Oh my gosh, I
I do
love them.
have to say, I have a bunch of handful bras. I could not find them, and I found them in my daughter's room. She wears them all the time, and they are so cute. She almost could wear them as swimsuits. In fact, I think she does. Like she'll
Yep.
sunbathe in them because they are so cute. And I love when she wears like her tank tops, but you can see the bra strap kind of through it because they have the really cool crisscross and different designs. You can adjust them however you want, and I just think they're very flattering.
Yeah. And you got your first one. How's your first one?
I love it. No, I had them in the past, and then, for me, I needed a little bit more, and then they came out with this new one with the extra zip in it, and it really makes a big difference, and I love that it actually gives you 2, not just 1, and that's always been a problem in the past. You just get this, like, 1 mono boob. I actually still have 2 when I wear this new design that you had given me, so thank you, Melissa.
You're so welcome. Well, we do still have a handful code, as I recall.
We still do?
I think so. If not, we'll get it
That's like
updated.
20% off. Why aren't people buying these off the shelf?
I don't know. They should be.
What is that code? Melissa, tell me.
That code is Salon Sleuths. Gosh, you're putting me on the spot now,
I
Leslie.
think it's just Salon Sleuths. If you go
Yeah.
to the coupon code, it's just Salon Sleuths. Like, yeah.
But you have to spell sleuths right.
Yes. And I'm part of this podcast, and I spelled it wrong when I made your first tank top. It did not. I was thought that was so stupid of me. But how do you spell it, Melissa?
You spell it SALONSLEUTHS. Go to handful.com, check them out. You'll be a fan for life.
If you'd like to be on our show and ask Suzanne a question or two about your career, your love life, or family, please contact us on our website at www.salonsleuths.com. We take calls the first Monday of the month. For a full appointment with Suzanne, go to her website. Thank you.